Have you figured out your niche? Are you helping adding value to other people's lives? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi.
Greetings from Chicagoland. This is Munira. Good morning, good morning. New edition of Munira's Musings. Our guest today is all the way from UK, Vicki Ostrowski.
That's right, yeah.
Great. Welcome. Happy to have you on Munira's Musings. How are you?
I'm wonderful, thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Thank you. So, Vicki, you are an ex-accountant, but you've not gotten out of accounting because now you've taken up a new role in accounting because now you're taking people on a journey to remove the money blocks they have.
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
So the accountancy still comes into play in that because that's how one kind of led into the other, if that makes sense.
How did you, okay, let's talk about your first journey. So you love numbers.
I wouldn't go as far as to say I love numbers. I did accountancy because I was told that it wasn't a girl's job initially. So that's why I did accountancy, because I wanted to prove a point. But I do love numbers. I love facts and figures. I love kind of outcomes, if that makes sense. So I like being able to see what an outcome is based on the numbers. So I did accountancy for quite a long time.
Great. So give us your journey. So you started in accountancy, and then what happened?
I started in accountancy, and I always ran my own business because I'd had a lot of health problems, which made me unemployable. So because I started my own business very, very young, I wanted to specialize in other small businesses. So that's what I did for a number of years. But in doing that, I soon identified, and I was also studying psychology as well, because it just intrigued me. I soon identified that many businesses' problems aren't to do with the money, they're to actually do with people's beliefs and conditioning around money. So what you believe, obviously you conceive. So if people had some kind of really limiting beliefs around money or some bizarre beliefs around money, that would actually ultimately have an effect on the business.
So things like money doesn't grow on trees.
Oh, that's a classic. Absolutely. Okay. Money doesn't grow on trees. A lot of people would believe that if you were wealthy or if you had too much money, people would think differently of you, people would think badly of you. Other people on the flip side of that would believe that the only way that people do take you seriously is if you worked yourself into the ground and had infinite wealth so that people would like you for that. So it's a very vast subject. There's so many things that people believe around money that ultimately has a knock-on effect onto their business.
So where do you think these beliefs stemmed from?
We inherit them normally. They're the gift that keeps on giving. So we've all done it, haven't we? We often hear ourselves say something and we think we sound like our parents, perhaps.
Yeah.
So we inherit a lot of them from our family and our peer group and the world around us. Also, societal conditioning has a lot to do with it. One of the classics at the moment is there's a lot of gurus out there who advocate the 10K months, which are all very well and good, and that's fantastic, but not many people show you how to get there. They just tell you shouldn't be there. So a lot of people have come to me believing that they're failing in some way, even though they're doing very, very well, because they're not having consistent 10K months. So many places that our beliefs around money can come from and stem from, but ultimately we don't normally realize that they're actually holding us back in some way as well.
Okay, so how do you then, you've actually moved as a accountant to a money coach where you are allowing people to shed this belief.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
How did that shift happen?
I'll be completely honest with you. That shift happened when I went into business with somebody else. it wasn't an accountancy business, it was a building company. So I went into business, started a building company with somebody whose integrity wasn't very good, shall we say, and as a consequence of that, our business failed in spectacular fashion. And because of that, that then kind of made me realize that some of my own money beliefs were actually a problem, believe it or not. And to admit that when you identify other people's money beliefs and when you're an accountant was quite difficult. And I also wanted to help other people where I believed at the time that there wasn't really good help available. There wasn't people out there helping people overcome the challenges they had in small businesses with regards to beliefs that actually had a negative impact on those businesses. So I had my psychology, my accountancy, and a failed business and knowing how that felt. And from that, I wanted to form something that helped other people so they didn't have to experience what I'd just been through. So that was how my now business was born. And that was in 2008.
Oh, wow. So you've been in business quite a long time.
Long time. My first business I started when I was 21 years old. So a long time. Yeah.
So tell me, when somebody comes to you, what would they, when you get a typical client, what would they typically be looking for and how would they approach you?
Normally people come to me because they're working a crazy amount of hours, but they can't seem to get above a certain plateau as far as income is concerned. Excuse me. So ordinarily they'll be like, you know, I'm working 18-hour days, I'm doing all of the things, but my income just isn't changing. The other one that's a common denominator for people coming to me is people that are like, I keep being told I should put my prices up, but I just can't do it. So we work around why they can't do it. And we also then work around in the previous group why they believe they have to work a crazy amount of hours in order to, you know, run a viable business. And most of the clients, if not all of the clients I work with, will end up working a lot less hours, but earning a lot more money. And we don't do that just by saying work less hours and put your prices up. We do a lot of really deep work and a lot of questioning. And I identify patterns in how they speak and how they sort of talk about money and talk about their business in order to identify where I think the blocks are with money so that we can work on releasing those or proving them to be complete untruths. And then we incrementally build the business up from there and move forward.
People who have limited beliefs in one, raising their prices, and two, they're working themselves to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Why does that happen? Why do people want to work themselves? I mean, why, you know, most people work 9 to 5, they have a job.
Mm-hmm.
Entrepreneurs, instead of working for the business, they work in the business, or am I saying it wrong? And they work themselves to the ground. And if they don't work, they have this mentality where they say, hey, I am not putting enough time in my business, so I must not be doing something right.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What do you tell people like that? So, I'm guilty here.
Oh, I've done it. So I'm not going to judge anybody. I've done it. You know, when we had the building company, I was working crazy hours because you believe the more hours you work, the more likely you are to earn more money. And we've all seen it. We see it on Facebook, you know, people saying, you know, every day I'm hustling. The more you hustle, the more you'll make. And it's actually not true because we tend to spend a lot of that time being completely unproductive. We tend to spend a lot of that time procrastinating, worrying about why we're not making more money, which then kind of self-perpetuates so that we kind of then don't make any more money because we're worrying about why we've not made any more money. So it's a myth, it's a legend, really, that we have to work ourselves into the ground in order to run successful businesses. And it's what we've been trained to do. You know, it's what society trains us to do as entrepreneurs. And yes, you do have to work hard. I'm not saying that you don't, but equally you can do it in a managed fashion. And then on the other side of the spectrum, a lot of people believe they can't put their prices up because they have a limit around what they could perhaps afford. So they therefore believe that their prices would be too high for other people to afford if they put them up. And they also believe that people wouldn't like them or wouldn't trust them if their prices were higher. They would lose work to the competition, even though most people haven't even defined who their competition is. So there's so many things wrapped up in it. I love it. It's so, so interesting.
So when you start working with a person, how long does it typically last? I mean, do you have like an 8-week program or a year program, or?
I've got several ways I work. People can either work with me one-to-one, or they can do my group program. Or if they don't actually want me to bother them at all, then I do have a kind of done for you program, which they'll still get results from, but they literally have it emailed to them every week for 8 weeks, and they don't have to get up close and personal with me. But the way I prefer to work with people is one-to-one. We normally work together for 3 months because there's a lot of research that proves that, you know, to change habits and believing certain things about yourself, the world around you, about money, has become a habit. Not only are we looking to change that habit, we're looking to change the beliefs around the habit, and then incrementally grow your income and grow your business and reduce your hours around that. So I normally recommend 3 months, and we see phenomenal results in 3 months. A lot of my clients then choose to do another 3 months with me, just to really kind of solidify those foundations we've achieved and to really sort of, you know, experience that growth. And I love seeing that. I absolutely adore it when I see people that come to me and they're like, oh, I'm struggling to even pay my bills every month. And then at the end of a 3 or 6 month period, they're like, one lady said to me a couple of weeks ago, she went, oh my God, how cool is this? I just sleep and make money. So, and that's lovely to hear, because she's gone from literally sat at her desk all the time believing she was being productive to now having time with her family, you know, enjoying other things and making an incredible additional amount of money just by getting over those blocks and those beliefs.
So for people who are trying to get over this, and for the listeners, especially me, I'm listening. So what is the 1 or 2 things that they can do while they're looking for you right now, that they can start thinking and changing this belief system?
Okay, I mean, I've got a document which I'm happy to put in the comments afterwards if you like. It's basically 5 ways to identify if you do have some sort of limiting money beliefs. It's things like, do you kind of get envious of other people if they've spent money? For example, if your friend down the road has a new car, do you kind of find yourself secretly seething, like, and saying things to yourself like, how can they afford that? How is that possible? What have they been doing? You know, do you do things like,
drug
you know,
money.
yeah, absolutely.
Must be drug money.
Yeah, where do they get their money from, and things like that. Do you consistently discount your prices is another one. You've definitely got some money juju going on there. I see it all the time, and I've done it, you know, so I'm not coming from a place of grandeur. I've worked through my own money stuff in order to be able to help other people with this. You know, I used to be that person who would give them the price and then immediately go, but I'll do it for 20% less. So if you do things like that, you're devaluing yourself, and immediately your client or your potential client has got you in kind of a position of being able to cajole you, because they know they've got the upper hand, because you obviously don't have much kind of confidence in your offering if you're willing to discount it immediately. So start looking at the things you say about money. You know, like, oh, I hate money. Common one. You'll hear so many people go, oh, hate money. Money has no power over you apart from the power that you give it. Money has no physical capability to do anything to you. It can't rob your house. It can't cause a divorce. It can't do any of those things. What causes those things are the beliefs that we have attached to it and the emotions that we attach to it. You know, money can't put a balaclava on and come and rob your house. It's paper. You know, paper and coins. It's a means of exchange. Everything that we blame money for is things that we've attached to it. Is that right?
Okay, that's deep. That's deep.
It is, absolutely. And it's kind of mind-blowing, really, because you hear it all the time. There was a thread actually yesterday on Facebook. I don't remember what group it was in, so don't quote me. But it was basically saying what ruins relationships, and the amount of people, it was money, 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 money. Now, money doesn't physically ruin relationships. Money doesn't wade into your relationship and cheat on you with somebody else. Money can't do that. What does ruin relationships is secrets and beliefs and lies and deceit around money. And that's all things that we've created in what we've been brought up to believe, in what we've been shown, in how we believe we need to conduct ourselves around money. Money is a completely innocent party.
Okay, we created money just like we created the belief system, right?
Absolutely. We created money because it's easier to carry around with you than camels. You know, camels used to be used as a means of exchange.
Or
You
salt
can't.
and cowrie shells.
Yeah, absolutely. So money is just that. It's a means of exchange. And that quite often starts to kind of reframe my clients' thinking when they go, oh, money did this, money did that, money did the other. I said, okay, so now think about money as camels. And immediately they kind of see the sort of untruths in the stories they've been telling themselves about money.
Okay.
It is quite comical if you think of camels doing these things, you know, it's...
Maybe we should have a cartoon somewhere.
I think so. I think that would be good, yeah.
No, but see, what you've just shared with us is pretty awesome, because even though we've seen it, we've felt it, we've done it ourselves, we still don't want to believe it, right? And the fact that we blame money, oh, somebody, we are jealous, like you said, somebody down the street, or, oh yeah, you have the knowledge and I don't. And you know, I've seen people who didn't have the knowledge and are multimillionaires because they allowed money to work for them.
Absolutely.
So how do you then take this mentality and you break it? But before you answer that, let me ask you, how do you take this money and have it work for you? Like, what did this one woman do that changed her whole mentality? Because sometimes it takes years for us to break this frame of mind.
It can do, but it can be done very, very quickly. It depends how committed you are to sort of overcoming this. It depends how fed up you are with kind of living in that cycle of struggle. You know, if you're very attached to that, then it's going to take years. But if you're kind of done with it, you can actually change your belief system quite quickly. So we've done some deep work. There's lots of questioning, kind of, you know, it's quite emotive. Money isn't something that we've been kind of raised to talk about. You know, it's up there with sex, isn't it? Money and sex are two things that people don't really like to talk about openly, you know, and so to admit that you're struggling to make money, to admit that you're struggling to kind of get your head around how to make more money is quite shameful to some people. It's quite embarrassing. Okay. So it's kind of, you know, that's what we deal with first is, you know, what evidence do you have that people are judging you because you're not making enough money? What evidence do you have that this is the problem with money? So we break all of those beliefs down. And I've got lots of kind of worksheets that I use in conjunction with the work that I do that get my clients thinking on a completely different level to what they've been trained to think on. So that's kind of the first port of call. And that's the space where they get lots of kind of epiphany moments. You know, like I get a lot of messages and they say, when I read that question, I absolutely hated you, Vicki. But then when I read the next question, it made sense. Because we're kind of opening up things that we don't like to admit to.
That's awesome.
So that's sort of the first month of working together. We're literally breaking down all of those walls, breaking down all of those barriers. I'm pushing my clients just out of that comfort zone of any excuses that they've attached to money. So, like I said, they love me and hate me in equal measures in those first few weeks. But then once we've kind of blown all of that apart, it's like we've formed this invisible barrier around our beliefs around money. So basically, the first few weeks of working with me, we are literally sort of throwing a grenade in, but in a very kind of loving, eloquent way so that it doesn't overwhelm you. And we're blowing those boundaries of those beliefs apart in order to move forward. And when you're starting to form new and healthy beliefs around money, not only does the momentum naturally kick in and you'll start finding that money's coming to you that you didn't otherwise, you know, believe was possible, but you will also then start having the confidence to incrementally increase your prices, your offerings. And yeah, it's incredibly exciting.
You sound excited, you know, I'm excited too. So how do people find you, Vicki?
You can find me at vicki-o.com, so it's quite simple. So if you come on to vicki-o.com, you can find me. There's a contact form, there's all my details. You can even find the 5-step document on there. I'm here on Facebook. It's again Vicki Ostrowski. If you type in Vicki O in Facebook, you'll find me. And I also have a group here on Facebook, which I hang out in quite regularly and give people like tips and sort of pointers as well. So, pardon? Yeah, the group is called the Vicki O Project. So it's all Vicki O. So anywhere you want to find me, Vicki O, because Ostrowski is quite difficult to find, to spell. So hence Vicki O. It works for Jackie O, so it works for me.
Oh, perfect. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. But here it is, your beliefs about money is holding you back, right? That's the bottom line. Now, who instilled these beliefs in you? We don't know, but she said it was hereditary. It came through the decades. It came through generations. And who knows? And maybe it started because our forefathers had to work very hard. Mm-hmm. And they did. My forefathers, had to work very hard. So everything that they had was actually sweat money. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying we are not sweating, we are, but we have it in we sweat in a luxurious way compared to working out in the fields or in the coal mines or in the shipyards where my parents worked. Mm-hmm. So who knows, right? Who knows how these money beliefs happened? But here's the thing, many people have them because we all had ancestors who lived before us, and everybody had hardship, and everybody decided that they had some kind of a mindfulness. Well, take care of that and break the belief system, because here you have a chance to create new belief systems and then have those systems go down into the generations. So then history can rewrite itself.
Absolutely.
And you can tell, and you can just do this by finding Vicki O and figuring out how this is going to work for you. Because here's the thing, you can't do this alone. You need somebody, like she says, she goes after you and she makes sure that you break down the armor that we've created for ourselves. So if you need help, go ahead and find Vicki O. Thank you, Vicki.
Thank you. It's been a joy. Thank you very much. I've enjoyed it.
You're most welcome. And for those of you who are here, please go ahead, like, share, and subscribe to our channel, because we'll be here with another guest on Mondays at 9 a.m.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Munira's Musings with your host, Munira Zahabi. If you enjoyed our show, please share and subscribe to this channel. And for more content, please join our Facebook group.